This is Molar Mauler, and you're watching Hetepsenusret. Now, I have a little bit of a problem in that I recorded this video and found out afterwards there was no audio. So what you're currently watching is me trying to use a editing software called Shotcut to add a voiceover to the game. Now this is going to be incredibly weird because I'm going to be trying to remember what I was talking about while I was playing. What I'm going to do is I'll just be quiet and watch the video and then add commentary as I think I know what I'm doing. So it's going to be a very weird one. I don't blame you for not watching it. I'll be recording episode 7 soon, and I'll do a recap of everything that I did in this episode. But mainly what I wanted to do was, with the new trade routes open at the end of last game, I wanted to just make sure that I was doing a couple things in this video. I wanted to get the monument going. I wanted to continue to build that military, and then I wanted to focus on food and starting to evolve the blocks. So I was a little short on employment here, so I just added the rest of the housing for the new big block. I'm actually pretty happy with the new big block. Just had a bunch of cash come in, so I decided I was going to go nuts. So the next little bit you'll see me setting up the farms. My goal here was to irrigate where convenient, but not to focus on irrigation, just because we wanted to make sure that now that we had that initial farm down, we were talking quantity over quality of our farms, because we wanted a large number of them to make sure that we generated enough straw, because you're only going to do 100 straw per field per harvest. So if we maxed out on the number of farms that we're doing, that just means we could maximize our straw, and then grain would probably take care of itself, just because, doing 360% fields is better than doing 200% fields, and we'll get more straw. So I'll just quiet down here while past Molar Mauler adds all of the fields to this farming area. The little section down to the south of the first farms we placed, there wasn't a good way to get road down there, so I ended up hemming and hawing about what to do, and I ended up deciding just to cut off the farms at a spot that looked a little aesthetic. And you also want to make sure that you get your people off the fields quickly, so that you're not running down long stretches of floodplain before you exit. So I'm just making sure that all these farms have a quick exit out of the floodplains, so I don't drown anybody. So this is just placing farms down, irrigating where it was convenient. There'll be a couple of them that aren't irrigated, which would usually drive me completely nuts, but because of the goal of straw over everything, the last two farms that I just put down, those will never be irrigated, but I'm fine with that. And that's just me talking about farms that are irrigated versus farms that aren't irrigated. I can already tell you I am not enjoying doing voiceovers. If I knew how to stop and start and reposition in the editor, I'd probably be skipping ahead to a logical place to do a voiceover, but I'm not that good. This is where I was deciding whether or not to lay down everything that I could or just stop at a reasonable point, because I couldn't get the road past there without going in and out of the fields or in and out of the floodplains. And I finally decided to just abandon the little tail there. I think if I remember the count, we ended up with 23 farms. I can't remember, and I'm not going to count out loud here. I think with all of this road work here, it's just too long a time in the floodplain to get 2 extra farms, so we just reorganized it. I'm gonna have my dogs barking on the voiceover. So I'm finally finishing up with the farms here. I don't know if I'm actually voiceover anything anymore. So now I'm sending my attention down to the there's chair noises going on. I'd be repositioning a lot today because my abs are really sore. My wife encouraged me to join a fitness class, and that was 2 days ago. I woke up with very sore abs. Almost couldn't get out of bed, and now I'm just uncomfortable. So what we did here next in the video was to finally do what we've been wanting to do all along, which is evolve these houses up. We're trying to finish this bottom area as much as possible, as much as Debbins and employment allow. So I'll be doing lots of things down here because I want to take this area up, get everything in that I can, and then just forget about the area. So we're bringing papyrus in, and pottery and beer. And then we're going to add a bunch of housing down and get the entertainment in this area, get our extra fisheries in. So we're basically going to spend a lot of time and employment on getting this bottom area set up. There's a weird disconnect between me waving the mouse around and talking, and that all didn't get recorded, of course. So now I'm getting distracted by my own mouse work while I try to figure out what might be useful information to give. But we're just setting up the housing areas. I'm talking right now. I believe that I wanted to leave that for a mortuary, because we are going to be short of mortuaries in the city with all of the small blocks that we're doing. So we want to make sure that we at least get scribal school and a mortuary in each of the medium-sized blocks, so that down the road we'll be close on mortuaries, and then we can go and go to some of the small houses that are small housing blocks that make sense, and delete a house and put a mortuary if we're short. Basically all housing in a small block. One thing about this video is I turn copper and sandstone on and off of imports so many times, just because of cash crunches and overspending. I really do a lot of spending in the next little bit of this video, now that the economy is finally going okay. One thing that I end up regretting later is I'm doing all of this housing block stuff, and I spending too much money on decorating and gardens and plazas and stuff, when I should be adding more papyrus makers and beer makers, because we end up having the extra trade route capacity, but we don't use it for quite a while in this video. So that's a mistake that I made early on here. I got really focused on getting these housing blocks done, and I should have added that extra capacity with the first bunch of workers that came in, so that our sales will be up. So fishing boats are going down now. We got 6 more. Realized that if I'm going to actually get these fish to the storage yard, I'm going to have to delete a house, which made me sad. Sad molar mauler is sad. There it goes. While I'm doing the voiceover and watching this, my computer screens keep going into sleep mode and shutting off, so every once in a while I have to refresh the screen. Don't exactly know what I'm doing anymore. I'm really not very good at this. In fact, I think I stopped recording audio. I did some overlap on the audio, actually. It's not really showing that I'm doing anything anymore on the shotcut panels here, but I went back and replayed it and I was recording audio. So I'm just going to stop again, backtrack, and make sure that I am doing it right at the moment. It appears that I was, so I'll just trust that I'm doing it right. I'll come back at the end and redo this all if all of a sudden this has no no audio. Says I'm recording. I see my mic thing moving, but the frame at the bottom doesn't show a track, so we'll see. So I decided to add some more wood just to make sure that we always had enough capacity to sell to Knossos. And then I got upset that they were all outside the block. So aesthetics over Debbins in this case, and so they all went inside the block. We're smart enough to keep them the entrances close to the wood as possible instead of sticking them on the wrong side of that loop. I also did a little vanity thing there where I moved that firehouse, or that architect post, inside that little loop by the other firehouse. So this is the papyrus yard to supply the school later. Now some of these far-flung places I don't try to bring a full yard over. I try to gauge how much needs to be done. So the only thing that needs to be done with papyrus in this little part of the map is to supply one scribal school. So it doesn't make sense to have a whole yard full of papyrus for that. So, but it's a long distance, so I want a dedicated storage yard doing it. And now we're just planning out where we're putting our entertainment schools. Doing things when I should be building industry capacity. And I stopped working on that block because I was running out of Debbins. So I just wanted to get them some initial entertainment so that they would evolve a bit while I was setting up getting yards for pottery and beer for the lower block. This is an interesting, I don't know if it's right about here when I notice that this housing block does not have a bazaar anymore. When Bast knocked down some of my best houses, she didn't knock down 3 houses, she knocked down 2 houses and the bazaar. And when I put the fires out, I put back 3 houses. So the bazaar disappeared from that bottom block. But all of the Bast blessings for food in the houses actually kept those, kept the existing housing from devolving, but I was never able to evolve the rest of the housing. Doesn't actually, it looks like they're not evolved right now. Maybe Bast gives them food in a little while and I didn't notice that. But anyways, eventually I figure it out. And right now I'm thinking about putting down a few more hunting lodges so I can supply my zoo easier here from this side and to supplement all of the meat that we're going to be doing. But I realized that if I put it there, I was going to interfere with my palace block later. So I decided to extend that little block in order to get the hunting lodges down and to make a little bit more room for bricks and clay. I'm just waving the mouse around, explaining in the video or the audio that didn't get recorded what I just basically told you now. I'm just glad when I wasn't recording audio for this video that I wasn't recording it from some other source and just had all sorts of weird stuff going on. This is when I realized I didn't do my road right. I'm trying to decide where I'm going to put the storage yard to accept the meat. Big decisions. I actually decided to put it right here because I want to use this to eventually get the sandstone after the mausoleum is placed down. This is where I want to receive sandstone. So I set it up for half meat and half sandstone. Just had the screens go blank again. There's gonna be some clicking in the background. I'm gonna try to adjust my properties so that I stop having this monitor. Go to sleep on me. My wife updated Windows and I do not know how to do it. So there'll be a lot of random clicking noise in the background as I'm trying to do that. I think what I'm just going to do is just wave my mouse around periodically in the background so that nothing goes to sleep. And here I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do to get linen up to the block, and I decide that I'm going to keep that storage yard getting all pottery, and I'm going to dedicate a storage yard there for linen later if I need to. And the rationale for that is if I ever get to sell pottery on a land route, I want that yard full. If I ever get to sell linen from a land route, I want a full linen yard right there where I'm waving the mouse right now. That way I'll always be able to supply that housing block, and I'll be able to efficiently get the traders in and out of town. I have no idea. It's so weird. This mission has been all land routes. That's one of the strange things about this city. Here's one of those times when I'm turning sandstone and copper off and on. I think this is where I figure it out. No, just oblivious. I'm thinking about getting the second chariot fort down. And somewhere along here I delete the second woodcutter because there isn't a lot of trees down here, and I'm basically done with wood in this area. Yep, there it goes. You miss some good live audio when I finally figure out there's no bazaar there. I was so confused. Past Molar Mauler was just staring at that housing block, trying to find the bazaar that wasn't there, convinced that there must be a bazaar there somewhere. It wasn't one of my finest moments in terms of cognitive function. I hope I never have to edit another video again in my life. I'm not enjoying doing voiceovers. So people are moving in. This is probably where I start spending way too much of my money again on things that aren't important when I should be putting down papyrus makers and breweries. It was nice to finally put a pavilion down. And a bandstand. Finally starting to evolve housing. I think I throw the dentist in now too. I have no idea where that beeping is coming from, folks. I don't know if it's just in my headphones or if the microphone is picking it up. I think it's my wife's iPad is on the counter behind me. I've got my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I'm not getting sounds from my phone, but her iPad, I think, is doing strange things. I'm just going to walk out of the room for a second with the iPad and put it somewhere else. And then I throw my coffee cup into my microphone. If I knew how to use this video editing software properly, I could go back and remove that noise, but I'm a first timer. I'll probably get better at this over time if I want to. I much prefer just voicing over the gameplay and leaving it. I think probably better off as kind of a streamer type guy rather than a heavily edited video type guy. I really only ever want these just to record my cities. I'm never gonna rewatch this video. my plan was to post this one and then go straight into recording the next one while I had a free morning, and now I'm sitting here doing voiceovers, only halfway through. Housing's starting to take off. Spent on gardens when I should be. That's a dead horse. I'm going to stop beating it. Gotta put your past in your behind. The wisdom of Pumbaa. I have no idea what past Moamaller's talking about there. Probably about linen and docks and this side of the river. We talk about that a lot. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, I finally got fed up and just said, these are supposed to be docks. They are docks. Maybe sometime before the end of this city, I'll be able to actually use those docks for something. If we get a water trade route for pottery, or we'll be bringing wine in probably at that one dock. Maybe no, because Knossos is selling wine in their land. Yeah, everything's land. Those docks are just going to be for show. So it doesn't look like I've got something missing. And that's it for the military. Unless there's some reason, like vanity, to throw down more. It would be kind of sexy to have 6 chariot armies. And then I would just be hoping that I get to use them so I could get that achievement. I think this is where I notice. It's like, where's the bazaar? It's got to be here somewhere because these houses have food. They didn't have food a while ago, so Bass must have came in with the blessing and actually gave those houses some food. It's like, there's where it was supposed to be. Yeah, and now the wheels are turning. And turning, and turning, and turning some more. Finally decided that, yes, that actually is reality. I'm just glad I told it to buy the right things. Okay, back on track. That's what happens when you don't pay attention to the gods. It comes back and bites you on the rump like generations later. Now I'm just double checking that everybody sort of likes me still. And I remembered that I didn't put down any Ta shrines in the other block. I forgot we had 4 gods, so I was just adding. The other two gods had not taw, so I decided to do 2 taws here to catch up and 1 bast just to be nice to bast. With 12,000, we're gonna need to make her happy beyond the temple complex. So more gardens and plazas when I should be. Oh, dead horse, dead horse. So we're likely never evolving this block up past that, unless we're desperate at the end for more mortuaries or more scribal schools. But I believe this area is completely finished now. So we'll never have to go down here again unless we want to put another chariot fort down, or unless Bass knocks something else down. No idea what I'm waving the mouse at here, but I must be giving lots of good information out about the game. The keen observers among you might have noticed that the big pyramid is blocked right now. I don't know when past Molar Mauler is going to notice. Sorry, random mouse noises to make sure that the monitors don't go to sleep again. I've been not bad at doing festivals. That I don't have papyrus and beer down. So now the waiting game begins, and we're just flirting with disaster with the Deben death spiral, waiting for a window of opportunity to put down some more papyrus and some more beer, just so our production meets our demand from our trade partners. So this is my second most unwatchable video I think that I've made. I did that one final episode of Bubastis where my video ended up being quarter screen. And now this one with the audio problems. I still have not noticed that the big monument is stalled. Because I'm watching that Deben amount like a hawk, and then I get surprised by a neighbor that wants to give me 8,500 bricks. So my hair lights on fire at this point because I don't have the money to put down the storage yards. But I figure 270 Debbins for a couple storage yards is, I put down 3. Probably could have put down 2. But in terms of value, being an extra 270 in the hole for a short time is well worth 8,500 bricks. So I do work hard here to get that gift. And then I go back to watching Debbins. Oh, do I just decide to do it? I can't remember. I think I wait till I get out of debt. And then, or close to out of debt, before I lay down the rest of the papyrus in the breweries. Those are nice housing blocks, but they sure got me in trouble in terms of overspending. And I'm hopeful that with these next couple moves, that this is going to be the end of the money problem. And then I spend like 5 to 10 agonizing minutes deciding how many breweries to make. And I'm talking about how I want to move that architect post later so that I don't block cart pushers if I ever get to the point where I fill up that industry rows between the distribution block and the pottery block. Finally decide on 12. And then I really quickly run out of barley. And it takes me a while to figure that out. And I think I end up opening up another trade route. The last trade route that we don't have open because they sell barley. So I can bring in up to 8,000 barley a year as soon as I do that. And now I'm trying to decide where I'm going to put a third reed gatherer. And this is a very painful part of the video here too, because I'm talking about where I want to put my storage yard, where I want to put the conservatory, where I want to put the dad school, if I'm going to block the reed gatherer from getting to the reeds if I put it up there. Eventually I put it down by the work camps in the place where I should have just instinctively put it. I don't know why I'm thinking about putting it up there, but the brain doesn't always work. It gets to the destination, but it doesn't always. I thought I had a good place for a conservatory there, but then I went to try to put an architect up above the road. So the architect was blocking the conservatory, and now the road is blocking the conservatory because I deleted an architect and put a road back down in its place, and then I couldn't figure out why. Nothing changed. And then I decided that I just don't even need that architect, which I hope is a good decision. We'll find out if things fall down. It's a pretty small loop. that one architect that's there by the regatherers is gonna be able to cover that fine. Still talking about making room for the regatherer, seeing if I can make a regatherer fit there, but if I had a time machine, that's probably not what I would use it for, but if I had extra time, which a guy with a time machine would probably have, I would go back and smack myself right around this point in time. Tell me just to put the regatherer where a normal person would put the regatherer, by the reeds and by the papyrus. There, that's a good spot. Oh, good boy. That's where you should put the papyrus maker, past molar. Actually, the smartest place would be not there. The smartest place would be right there. Because you're not going to make him walk to the corner to get out. He's just going to be on the corner. Do it. Yeah. And then I said I wanted 10, and so instead I put down 13. Because I need excess. 10 for trade and 3 for me. Or 5 for me, sorry. Is this where I noticed the monument is stuck? No, I think this is where I noticed that I built too many storage yards. There is some fun in doing it this way, recording the audio afterwards, because I get to make fun of myself. I get to be like the commenter in the comments. You forgot to put an architect house over in this block. When the videos spin up for like 10 hours. I'm probably going to get to the end of this video, find out that the audio from the video kicked in the last half hour, and I'm talking over myself. I also got to figure out how I'm going to save this edited video and how I'm going to upload it. I got all kinds of problems. I have no idea what past Molar is waxing poetic about right now. and finally evolve the upper block. Actually remember to put the trio down instead of just two of them. And now I'm just having a happy moment where I am just so thrilled that that will allow me to place a small block within the roads. How fluky things work out. But I guess if you design a block that's 12 along one side and 12 along the other, it should dovetail everywhere. So I don't know why I keep getting surprised that things kind of knit together. And I have enough money now to reopen sandstone. And I'm talking about bonus entertainment points here, because if you look, that block is evolved up quite high, and it only has a juggler. And that is because when you have perfect ratings in your venues, you get bonus entertainment points. So the bonus from having perfect jugglers was enough to give the extra little bit of entertainment that those houses needed to evolve past the we need more entertainment stage. And I'm talking about how when I do my palace block, I'm going to try to just give them a Senate House walker and a zoo walker and see how high they go up if I have perfect venues everywhere. And see if I even need to give them a pavilion, because that would be an interesting experiment. I'll probably end up having to give them a pavilion, but I would like to see exactly how high just a zoo walker and a Senate walker will take the estate housing in the estate block. This must be where I noticed that the monument is stuck. Oh, thank goodness I only got like 15 minutes more to do this. Or is it 25? I got a lot of time left to do voiceovers here. And now I'm talking about how nice things fit with the stackable blocks that I use. The blocks are designed to do a couple of things. They're meant to be balanced population to the different services. So they're designed to have the right amount of jugglers, the right amount of musicians, the right amount of dancers, right amount of mortuaries and scribal schools and gods, And then they're also designed to be stackable so that I can use the gardens on one side to be the gardens on the other side, and to just make it easy to do lots of little balanced blocks, rather than finding out later that you're short of this and short of that, and having to put down little culture farms or little education farms just to get your ratings up. So if I just stick to doing mostly small and medium blocks and throw in the odd large block, everything usually will balance out, and I don't have to do a lot of funny business at the end. Here I'm trying to figure out a way to do a nice little block to hold limestone and to get some of the guilds. So I'm really focused on the monuments at this moment, which is probably when I notice that the monument is stuck. It takes me a long time to get this one unstuck. The way that I get them unstuck is I disconnect the monument from the road so it goes idle, and then I delete the offending work camps to try to find out which work camp has the guy that is that's stuck, and then when he disappears, then I'll put that work camp back and then reconnect the monument, and that usually does it. Here I don't notice it. Now I'm remembering. I didn't notice until I was actually bringing bricks and stone to the monument, so I was really anxious about deleting the work camps while I was hauling stone and bricks to the monument, because I didn't want to all of a sudden try to unstick one monument and then make a guy dragging a load of monument goods to disappear and then maybe screw up my other monument. But I managed to get them unstuck, so I'll probably talk a little bit over the game when that actually happens, but I got nothing else to talk about right now. I'm deciding that I put that one brick monument where I wanted clay pits. So I'm going to dump the bricks out of it and delete it. And I'm talking about how far work camps have to go to get the bricks. It's not that far of a walk. I shouldn't be agonizing over it, but this whole game is just about these little walkers and making them do what you want them to do and not letting them do silly things. So if you understand what each walker does and why he does it and what the decision paths are for him, you can decide, or you can kind of manipulate them into doing what you want and getting a stable and happy city that doesn't do strange things with things getting lost in places or devolving. So I think a lot about how far a work camp worker has to go to get stone to bring to a monument. I like to have that all fairly efficient. I like to know what my firehouse and architects, what those people are going to do for their walks, where they're going to go, where they could make a decision to go somewhere else when they get to the limit of their walk, how they're going to walk back, because they'll take the most direct route back. It was nice in this episode, even though I didn't record audio. It was a super rewarding episode in terms of I really felt like now that I had the income, it felt good to start evolving housing blocks and starting to get food where I wanted it and start to really get working on the monument. So next episode, we're probably going to start building out the rest of these housing blocks, which is going to give us a lot of unemployment. So we're going to want to take the houses by our temple complex up to manors to control some of our unemployment that we're going to end up getting. So I'm going to want to put down a second housing block on the other side of the temple complex fairly shortly in that episode, and then start to make some jewelry so I can start to pop into manor housing as the unemployment allows. And then we'll start planning out the estate blocks. And I'm doing math right now to try to figure out how many clay pits and how many brickyards. So I ended up deciding on 10 clay pits, and I find out that you would take 10 clay pits times 768. That'll give you the amount of clay you're going to produce. And then you divide that by 564. I'm using old Pharaoh numbers. I'm assuming they're similar. I haven't gone wrong yet using the old numbers. But so I determined that was 14 brickyards. So I'm trying to figure out how to put them in. And then I found out while I was doing this that I ended up making that block just slightly too long, and I ended up with 2 little dead spaces, which I was thinking about putting shrines into, but that's just kind of a temporary area. I mean, that could technically all get knocked down later. So I didn't want to put something valuable there, but the grass was bugging me, so I ended up putting down gardens in those spots. And I put the final brickyard that I needed to get to 14 there, so if I needed to bring a road out to get to farms, if I was short of straw, that I could get out of that housing block where I put that roadblock at the end to go and get people out to the farms. And this is where I fill in the grass areas, just because I'm quirky. That's the kindest word to use. There, it doesn't look like I made a mistake now, even though I know I made a mistake there. And then I make a mistake over, this is where I notice that the top of the one block matches the top of the other block, and I had another city planning orgasm there, where it's like I felt like such a genius, because the top of my large block lined up with the top of my little blocks. And then I'm waxing poetic on how awesome stackable blocks are. And now I need to build that other block. Still haven't noticed that monument is stuck. Just now watching, I realized that I make the same mistake here that I always do. If I don't put statues in the corners of these big blocks, I don't have control over whether or not the corner houses will evolve up to manors on me without me wanting them to. So that's one thing I'll have to do in the next episode is go and put the corner statues up. And then I put down conservatories for a housing block that I've designed a space inside for a conservatory. Sorry, I got the hiccups. Bad thing to have when you're recording a voice, when you're doing voiceover work. Dogs is starting to growl at ghosts. There's nothing going on, there's no house noises. But every once in a while, he just does a little bark. He looks like he's sleeping. So maybe he's having a dream. I think this is where I finally notice I have no barley. I like to think I'm good at this game, but sometimes it's just like, no, you're not. So we put a storage yard up there to get the non-existent beer because we're not making any anymore. Talking about making jewelry, I think, right now. Because that's where I'm planning to put the gem and the jewelry yard. Still haven't, there's a source of linen on this map. Actually, I never even bothered to check to see if I can import flax. I might be talking about making a linen industry, and I might not ever be able to get flax. I might just be having to import linen. I know there's a trade route that'll sell me linen. But I know the industry allows me to make weavers, so it's probably a good assumption that I can get flax from somebody eventually. So that is the best spot for a conservatory, but not at this moment, because I can put one in the block for the that's a good spot for the top small blocks that I have going on there. That bottom one will work for the housing block, but I'm sticking one in the housing block. But it'll be a good supply one for the other two blocks that I have. So then it'll balance it out. There's our first dance school. This side of the river. Well, the workers almost have the bed of the medium pyramid ready for brick, which is going to be me noticing that I have the monument stuck then pretty soon. Those are to bring papyrus down to start supplying the schools that are going to be in the neighborhood. The top one for the estate block and the bottom one for the large and medium blocks. And I'm just going to do half a yard, I think, on all of those. That's when I figure out I made the mistake with the conservatories. decide I'm going to plaza that block up, realize I have no money. And quickly undo it. So they're just waiting on papyrus now to go up another notch. Realized I didn't buy beer. So we're about, well, not quite halfway to our population target. So that's coming along good. That was the other good thing about this episode is I made some progress there. This is what I realize. Yeah, I think this is where I realize. And I finally noticed that guy who's like getting the last little bit of water out of the pyramid grooves. So the next 6 minutes or so is just me trying to get the monument unstuck before the end of the video. I was debating stopping recording here, but I like to talk about getting monuments unstuck. It's nice to demonstrate it in a video. So there, I disconnect the monument, and now I basically try to find the offending storage yard. I've reached the point here where I realize that it doesn't really matter if I might lose a cart pusher or a stone or a brick dragger. So that was the one that I just deleted. Got rid of that little worker on the monument, so I reconnected it, and then I watched this guy and he came there and he disappeared again. So it was just like, no, it's not unstuck. Although that could have been a guy from way up high that was still making his walk. So I might have been unstuck at this point and not known it. But I go in and give it another try. I think I delete the entrance here now. Yeah, he disappeared, so now I'm in a panic, thinking, am I going to have to start this monument over from scratch? Because it didn't get unstuck. So I disconnect it again, and then I go up to and I just get rid of every single work camp. Let it run for a second. Now I'll put my work camps back down, and you notice I'm still OCD about putting monument work camps for the monument and going up and changing to food and farming monuments or work camps for the farming area. I know, I'm weird. I apologize. So now the work camps are back up. I reconnect the monument and I cross my fingers. And I wait and I wait and I wait for somebody to show up to go after that last little water patch. for a spare monument worker to decide. And then I'm wondering, is it coming from the top? So am I waiting for a work camp worker from way up high to come down and work on the monument? I was ready to knock the whole monument down at this point in time because nothing seemed to be happening. And then I added an extra road across. Which never was there before, but it is there now, and here comes Little Walker. So I don't know if it didn't think that it was attached still. But here comes the first guy disappeared, and I went into another panic. And then that guy went in there and actually cleared the little bit of water. And I believe it's officially unstuck now. But yeah, some moments of fear and almost desperation, thinking that I would have to demolish it and start over from scratch. I mean, it wouldn't have been a disaster, but that's a lot of work camp action had happened in that monument already. And I thought I was going to put down the mausoleum, but I don't quite have enough, so I think this is where I finished the video. See you in the next one.